Well, Steph, thanks for that introduction, and colleagues, thanks for putting up with two ministers. You'll have noticed that there is an important announcement today that Honda has made. I've got to go and make a statement to the House. I thought it was going to be right now, but I have a few minutes, so I hope you'll indulge me by saying a few words to you, taking a few questions, and then handing over to my esteemed colleague, Richard Harrington, to pick it up from there. But before I go any further, I just wanted to comment on the announcement made by Honda this morning that their Swindon plant will close in 2021. Now, I'm not going to pretend to an audience of manufacturers that this is anything other than a very bitter blow. And I think the thoughts of everyone in this room are with the dedicated workforce and the suppliers of what has been a phenomenally successful business and has done so much for UK manufacturing during its time here. And with the town of Swindon, whose proud manufacturing tradition, as everyone knows, dates way back to Brunel and the days of the GWR, and which has been home to one of the best car factories in the world during Honda's time there. And so our message to everyone affected by Honda's closure is that we value intensely your skills. We completely understand the challenges that you face, and we will do everything that we possibly can to support every single person in the community, in the workforce, in the supply chain, to make sure that their skills and their ingenuity will find expression and application in the years ahead. Now, of course, this news comes on top of months of uncertainty that you as manufacturers have had to endure about Brexit and about our future relationship with the EU. And just spotting in the audience so many people that I and Richard meet during the course of our work, and I know how important it is to you that we should find an early resolution of what our relationship with the rest of the European Union is going to be. Because you know that every decision that you make on prices, on cash flow, on logistics, and investment has real consequences for the hundreds of thousands, indeed millions of people that you employ. And I've been always quite clear that a situation in which our manufacturers don't have the certainty that they need about the terms under which over 2/3 of our trade will be conducted in less than 40 days' time is unacceptable. It needs to be brought to a conclusion and without further delay. I'm immensely grateful to Stephen Phipson and the EEF, now Make UK, for the advice and the support that they've given on your behalf. This is a membership organisation, and I want you to know that the views that you express to the headquarters are deployed forensically and consistently by Stephen on your behalf. Richard and I meet with Stephen every Wednesday morning for a full hour's discussion of what he's found from his interactions with you during the previous week. And it really makes a difference. I can't understate the importance of the evidence and the intelligence that you supply through Stephen to us in our roles. And it's with the help of the EEF that we made, first of all, and won the argument for a significant transition period, recognising that you need time to adjust to a new regime, whatever it is. A period during which your ability to trade with the rest of the EU remains as now, time to adjust to new arrangements. It was also based on the evidence, and I think there's been a national education in the realities of just-in-time production and integrated supply chains that the whole country has learned, but very much pioneered through the evidence that you've supplied to Stephen and has been deployed through the EEF. That shaped the crucial objective of maintaining frictionless trade, and that remains front and centre in our aims for the future economic partnership with the EU. And I and Richard will continue to work with you and to listen to you you, the manufacturers and the employers, to make sure that your voice is decisive in this crucial debate. And yet, as important as all this is, I can't stand here today and claim to you that all of your requirements have been resolved. To do that, we need to have a deal, because leaving the EU without one would, in my view, be a disaster for the whole country. In the survey that EF, Make UK, published just last week, 2/3 of manufacturing employers said that no deal would result immediately in price increases on products, whilst almost 1/3 of manufacturers said that no deal has implications for jobs. Now, some people, when you voice these concerns, describe this as Project Fear. But for me, as knowing the familiarity that you have with the reality of running manufacturing operations and employing millions of people around the UK, I think it is better described as Project Reality. And your evidence needs to be acted upon. And I know from talking to many of you yourself of the consequences from the logistical problems caused by new customs checks to potential limitations on sending skilled workers to the UK to install, to maintain and service your products. There is I think, a lack of adequate understanding historically in this country as to how intrinsic manufacturing is to the success of our service economy. Many of your products, many of your revenues, I know, derive from the service contracts that you have in support of the manufacturing operations that you have in this country. And I also know and entirely understand the importance of having this resolved much more quickly than I think has been in prospect. The reality is that yesterday, the first freighter that will arrive after the 29th of March set off from Felixstowe, bound for Japan, with no clarity on the terms under which its cargo will be admitted when it reaches its destination. That is, I know, unacceptable to you, and it's unacceptable to me. And for me, this shows how absolutely essential it is to conclude the arrangements with a deal in the weeks ahead. And not on the last minute, on the 28th of March, but as soon as possible. Because no one should regard waiting to the last moment when you are making decisions now that have consequences for many weeks and months ahead as acceptable. I've always thought, and my colleagues in government have, that an orderly Brexit, one that implements the outcome of the referendum, but in a way that protects prosperity, growth and jobs, is what we should insist on. No one wants to be poorer at a time when the opportunities that we have in manufacturing specifically are greater than ever before. So we will go on making sure that the argument that manufacturers put for a deal to be concluded swiftly is something that is heard loud and clear. The deal that has been proposed is by no means perfect, but it does meet, in the view of many of you here, the needs that you've expressed, and in particular provides more certainty in a time of great uncertainty. But of course, decisions like Honda's this morning demonstrate starkly how much is at stake. Honda's announcement they have described as not being related to Brexit, but to the changes that are taking place in the automotive sector. And there are many people in this room that are aware of that and participate in that. And that's why this is such an important time to build on the foundations that we have in our economy, to make sure that we profit from the opportunities, especially in areas in which the UK has a stunning reputation. Right. A few months after the EU referendum, I had a conversation with someone known to everyone in this room, the Siemens UK CEO, Jürgen Meyer, which gave birth to the idea behind Made Smarter, making sure that smaller firms have the ability to access the cutting edge of new technologies that sometimes are taken for granted by the larger OEMs and some of our research institutions, encouraging and helping smaller firms to adopt new technologies that can help them become competitive in this time of global change and to create more jobs. The idea struck a chord, and many people in this room are involved with the Made Smarter Commission that resulted from that. And based on Jürgen's work and supported by you, we have had a huge response right across the UK from the manufacturing community, from companies big and small in every nation of the United Kingdom. We've made substantial progress already. In September, I chaired the first meeting of the Made Smarter Commission, attended by many companies in the room today. The very next month, in October, we announced £120 million to make sure that this diffusion of the technologies that we have in this country to supply chains in every part of industry should be able to be supported. And at the heart of Made Smarter will be what I know is manufacturers' number one priority, skills. There are so many lingering misconceptions that I'm sure you as I are frustrated about, that people have the wrong view of manufacturing. The EF under Stephen asked the British public to guess how UK manufacturing ranked globally. The average guess was 56th. Actually, we're 9th in the world and can rise more strongly. Kazakhstan is 56th. But the perception needs to be countered. And one of the big purposes of Made Smarter, and EF's chair, Judith Hackett, I know here today, is a formidable leader of that initiative to change perceptions of what manufacturing and engineering is about, to show the reality of modern manufacturing as being one of the most exciting vocations that exist in Britain today. We should be proud of the world-class manufacturing talent that we produce in this country, and we need to produce more. And whenever I meet apprentices, whether it's at the MTC, the Manufacturing Technology Centre, just outside Coventry, the AMRC in Sheffield, or Make UK's own apprentices in Aston, I'm blown away by the sense of privilege that people have that have managed to discover what a fantastic career is in prospect if they get into manufacturing and engineering. While companies like Lander Automotive, whose MD, Peter Tack, I think is with us here today, creating new apprentices, 15 apprentices being recruited every 8 weeks to be embarked on a career that will take them around the world with excitement and discovery every year of that. And as more companies embrace new technologies, it won't be about people or technology, but about people and technology. I was struck at the Manufacturing Technology Centre looking at the latest application of robots. The big question is, are these robots going to replace people? Quite the reverse. All of the skills there, and you know it in this room, are about making sure that we learn to work effectively with the automation that is made available. People working alongside robots or deciding what to do with data analysis. But as new technologies require new skills, we must make sure that these opportunities are available to those who may not be aware of them. And through our industrial strategy, our new national retraining scheme is designed to help people learn new skills as the economy changes, including as a result of automation. And we're also putting significant investment to help SMEs develop the leadership and management skills that, again, are often available more easily to the larger companies, but to reap the opportunities that we have in the world today, we want to make sure that the best skills are available to the leaders of some of our smaller businesses. With a management training program which can help 10,000 people a year over the next few years. And just as no one should be left behind by the new technologies that are sweeping this industry, no place should be left behind either. I hope that Made Smarter will support small businesses and small manufacturers right across the UK. And in pursuance of that goal, the first wave is in the Northwest, working with the towns and cities of the Northwest, Cheshire and Warrington and Cumbria, Lancashire, Liverpool and Manchester, to make sure that small businesses there are the first to benefit and to really reinforce what is already a strong cluster of manufacturing excellence. We need to make sure that the opportunities of the fourth industrial revolution are available to every single firm in the economy. But in helping firms understand the data and where suitable to automate production, we can make a real impact. And there's been a huge response in the Northwest with 140 businesses signed up already to learn from the best in the country as to how they can spread industrial digitalisation. As well as in automotive, we have a firm looking to use robotic equipment on the production line. We want the applications to be in, for example, food manufacturing, our most important manufacturing business by employment. We want this pilot to become a beacon for schemes in regions right across the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the coming days and weeks ahead, we are very conscious, and I have firmly in mind, that your future prosperity in a world of change and opportunity must be at the forefront of our attention in all of the policy decisions that we take. We need to have a test of a successful Brexit is that it should work for manufacturing industry at this time of such great opportunity, and through that for the millions of people who depend on you. And just as we stand on the cusp of amazing new opportunities for manufacturers, we must maintain and create the future possibilities for everyone in this room. And we're conscious that every hour and every pound spent being devoted to Brexit preparations is necessary, I understand, but actually it is not the main focus of your work, which is to create the products and the processes and the customers that will sustain us for many years to come. So I look forward to continuing the very effective work that we've enjoyed with the EEF and now, I hope, with Make UK, that we can, in a short space of time, now agree a deal that brings the certainty that you have communicated so clearly that you want, and that we can make the UK as synonymous with the fourth industrial revolution as we are through our history books with the first. Thank you for letting me come today and gate crash your event with my colleague. I'd be delighted to take a few questions, and then you'll forgive me if I've got to go over to the House of Commons to make a statement. But thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. I think we're going to take two questions for Greg, and when we ask questions, if you could state your name and your organisation, that would be very helpful for the record. But before we do that, you heard from me this morning about our relationship with government. Greg's reflected today on the weekly relationship we have in terms of inputting your thoughts into the big issues of the day, not only around Brexit, but on industrial strategy, skills and the other important issues. And whilst we've got the two of you together, I'd like to thank you on behalf of this sector for all of your support and championing really what's important to us, Greg. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Okay. Let's start with Andrew Churchill at the front here, shall we? June, thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Churchill, JJ Churchill Limited. Thank you for your words, Secretary of State. A very simple question. We leave in 38 days' time. Could you tell me what proportion of our current FTAs are ready?
Do we have an automotive?
I can't tell you the exact proportion, Andrew, but what I can tell you is, unfortunately, not all of the FTAs, and I might mention the Japan and Korean ones that are important, are expected to be concluded in that time. That is one of the reasons why I think it is so important that we should not leave without a deal. That would mean that those agreements did not roll over, but it reinforces the absolute requirement that we should leave with a deal and that we should do so quickly so that we don't have the jeopardy of those ships currently on the water not knowing how they'll be treated when they arrive.
Thank you very much. We have one over here. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Rowan Egan and I'm with the Northern Automotive Alliance. So we've seen quite a bit of disruption in the automotive sector at present with, Brexit and, of course, Dieselgate. And this has resulted in significant drop in production volumes, and we've also seen the losses of some jobs. There are some opportunities, of course, electrification, and you mentioned the Made Smarter scheme. But can you share a bit more detail just around what exactly is being done to protect the future of the automotive sector?
Absolutely. So there are huge opportunities in the automotive sector in particular. I was talking actually just this morning to an executive in the motor industry who has spent 45 years or so of a career in the sector. And he said that he's frustrated that he is coming close to retirement because the changes are more profound and exciting in that sector now over the next 5 and 10 years than during the whole of his 45-year career, whether it's the change in propulsion to electric powertrains or whether it's navigation through satellites and sensors and connected and autonomous vehicles. This is happening right across the world. And it so happens that we are a leader in the discovery of many of these technologies. And in this room, there will be many people I know that will follow Formula One, for example. And the one thing you know about Formula One is that drivers and constructors might have different national flags when they race, but almost all of the teams are based in Britain and in a cluster of global automotive excellence in all of these, whether it's materials, whether it's powertrains, whether it's navigational aids, they are here. And one of the things that frustrates me about the Honda decision is that they're accelerating the move into electric vehicles. And I think in a few years' time, it will be evident that the results of the investment that we've made with many people here, it's a joint investment with the industry, into being the leader in the next generation of battery technology, in having the best test beds for connected and autonomous vehicles, give us the chance to lead the automotive sector of the future. We're determined to do that. We are well placed. All of us are always going to need to get around in the years ahead, and there is every reason why Britain can be a leader in that. And through the industrial strategy, through the Faraday Challenge, for example, that is building the first battery manufacturing centre in the UK with investment from Williams and Unipart. I think John Neal is here. This is an early example of what is possible. So lots of opportunities in this time, which I acknowledge is turbulent for the sector.
Very good. Okay, for another question, Greg? Or
take one more then?
Take one more question. Let's go from over this side. Why don't we have one at the front here? Good, thank you.
Thank you. Mike Morgan, I'm the co-owner of Autocraft based in Grantham. What can we expect from the industrial challenge in the next 12 months? We've already had some great results, thank you, from in particular the Faraday Challenge. What can we prepare ourselves for, and what exciting things can you help us with?
Well, thanks. And I should have said a big thank you to everyone in this room who has contributed to the development of the industrial strategy. We identified 4 grand challenges, as we call them. One was the future of mobility that I talked about. The other was the move to clean growth. One of the others was looking at the potential of the ageing population with the changes that is taking place. But let me mention energy, for example, because energy is a good illustration of where a strategy is a plan for the long term, but it's also something that brings convergent sectors together. And one of the things that I can tell you we will see during the weeks ahead on clean energy is the application of some of these technologies that many of you have pioneered in the automotive sector into energy storage to make use of what is now a leading industry, and I'm sure we've got energy people in the room. We are the world's leading deployer of offshore wind, but to make greatest use of it, we need to be able to store it. And so what we have, there is a sector deal being negotiated with the offshore wind industry to bring it together with the work that's being done in the automotive sector to make energy storage something, again, in which Britain will be a leading force. So we'll have sector deals like that, and the sector deals, as you know, bring the industry, government and clusters around the country together. There will be more of those. The local industrial strategies, we will be launching the first of those in the West Midlands in the next few weeks. There has been for too long, in my view, in this country, an approach that didn't recognise the differences and the capabilities of different places, and to give the opportunity for institutions and the co-location of businesses to really help embed, just as I mentioned, the F1 cluster in Oxfordshire and Northamptonshire, to have that type of possibility in other sectors is what you'll see from that. So it's in full implementation, but it can only be done with you, and I'm grateful for your contribution so far in that.
Let's do one last question, shall we, Greg, if that's okay with you? So any more questions from the floor? Apart from David? David, why don't we ask you a question? If you could just wait for the mic for a second, that'd be good. Thank you, so we can hear you.
Why don't you ask James Dyson if he'd like to build his electric cars in Swindon?
Good question.
With that mandate from the room, I will do just that. But it allows me to say, I've said a few things about Swindon. What you have there is a fantastic manufacturing facility in a town with not just a history, but an actuality of advanced manufacturing with a highly motivated workforce. Richard and I are bringing together a task force to make sure that the opportunities don't slip through our fingers. And top of that list is to advertise the brilliant opportunity that there is there in that site. And with his operations in Wiltshire, Sir James might want to take a look around.
Greg, thank you very much. You've been very kind with your time. I know you've got to zip off, and we're going to spend a few minutes with Richard on some more Q&As.
Thank you, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.